This is the first of 5 videos on Aeneid 2 for the 2022 prescribed lines for OCR Latin GCSE. This section is on Hecuba's speech to Priam and the fall of Troy in Book 2 of Virgil's Aeneid. We're going to have a look at the content, the translation and the effects of this scene. Okay, so we're going to look at the Latin first. Hic Hecuba et natae nequiquam altaria circum, praecipites atra ceu tempestate columbae, condensae et divum amplexae simulacra sedebant. Ipsum autem sumptis Priamum juvenalibus armis ut vidit, quae mens tam dira, miseri me conjunx, impluit his cingi telis, aut quo ruis inquit. Non tali auxilio nec defensoribus istis, tempus eget. Non si ipse meus nunc ad foret Hector, huc tantem concere, haec ara tuebitur omnis, aut morier simul. Sic ore e fata recepit, ad sese et sacra longavum insere locavit. Okay, so now we've looked at the Latin in its entirety, it's not read in the meter. Let's have a look at how this fits together side by side with the translation and pin our translation of the Latin to root words. Here, round the shrines, Hecuba and her daughters were sitting in vain, huddled together like doves swept before a black storm and clasping the images of the gods. So, what we've got here, hic Hecuba, here Hecuba, natae are the daughters, nequiquam is in vain, altaria circum, around the altars. So if you look at the root words, the links, it'll help you remember it. Cur tempestate columbae, cur columbae, like doves, tempestate, in a tempest or in a storm. Okay, the images of the gods are divum. Okay, so you can see how this starts to fit together a little bit. But when she saw even Priam himself with the weapons of his youth, what thought is so dire, wretched husband, that it has driven you to don these weapons? Where are you rushing? She cried. And you can see ipsum himself, Priam, weapons of his youth, juvenalibus armis, ablative. Miseri me conjunx is wretched husband, his cingi telis is the weapons that he's picked up. Not for such aid nor such defenders does the hour call, not even if my own Hector were here himself. At last concede here, this altar will guard us all, or you will die with us. Such were the words that came from her mouth, then drew the aged man to her, and placed him on the holy seat. Non tali auxilio is no such help, nec defensoribus, nor defenders, tempus eget, time selects. Ipse meus Hector, my Hector himself, tandem concede, at last give in, concede. Okay, sic ore effata, such from her mouth, effata, the words were made. Let's look at the effects now. We've got natae nequiquam, her daughters in vain, cur tempestate columbae, so we've got alliteration to connect daughters and in vain together, and we've got a simile to make them seem like fragile doves, connecting these ideas in a sense of fragility. You can see natae and nequiquam go together. Quae mens tam dira, misere me conjunx. So we've got rhetorical questions coming in and apostrophe because she's talking directly to her husband. Non, nec and non are examples of anaphora because it's repeating the negatives to show that Priam doesn't need to do what he thinks he needs to do. Non, nec and non are repeating words at the beginning, and that's why we call it anaphora rather than just repetition. Hector comes at the end as well, which is where respondee would fall. It puts emphasis on his name in the Latin word order, showing he was an important character. Huc and haec, this and here she's adding urgency, and this plosive harsh sound is repeated at the beginning. Again, anaphora of that pronoun, of that preposition, sorry. So come here, give up, really emphatic with huc, haec, and the pause in the middle as a caesura. We've also got sibilants in sic, sese, and sede. After Hecuba's done talking, it becomes a lot more fluid because Aeneas is narrating and he is not panicking. If we look at all of these effects together then, let's have a look at what we've come up with so far. So in the exam, you want to include what's noted in blue and the quotation. Without the quotations, you won't access the highest marks. So the alliteration connects the nati, the daughters, and nequiquam, the idea of things being in vain. They're described cur columbae, like doves tempestate, in a psalm, which is a simile showing their vulnerability. The rhetoric that we see coming in shows that Hecuba is trying to convince Priam. She calls him her husband, so it's very emotive. Lots of negatives in the repetition, the anaphora, non, nec, non. Hector falls on a spondy, which shows he is important. Simul, at once, is in a caesura, and the sibilance we get after Hecuba's done speaking shows that Aeneas is much more in control than Hecuba is. So this is what to analyse and test yourself on. Here is the English in its completeness, so you can see exactly what it means and what's happening in this passage. Play the video, try translating bits of the passage and mind mapping how you would answer an essay question. I'll add more videos to the playlist and link them below. Thanks!